I was writing an article on my blog and on Medium about creativity because I feel sometimes we mistake creativity for originality. So these are two different things. You can be creative without being original, but you cannot be original without being creative. This is the conclusion. So what do I mean by this? Sometimes we feel that we need to impress our readers, our watchers, our viewers here. Maybe if you're on YouTube, if you're a writer, you feel that you have to impress with your stories, with your thoughts and ideas. So you feel that you need to be original. And so you say, well, I'm not creative enough. But that's actually not true. You can create. You can still be creative without being original. So if I tell you, you have 15 minutes to write a story, it doesn't have to be original. It doesn't have to be clever. It doesn't have to impress anyone. And I say, you have 15 minutes to write this story. If you don't write it in 15 minutes, the world will explode. What would you say? Would you say that you don't have creativity now? So I think this is the problem. The problem is thinking that you're not original, you cannot create something because it's not worth it. It's not worth creating something that is not original. But the creativity is there. The creativity is there. So I was reading this book by the Japanese author Murakami, and the book is called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. And he talks about, he's a novelist and a runner, and he said that there are some writers who can write novels, they can just sit there and write a novel because they're so creative that ideas, they just come to them. But he says, I'm not one of those writers. I need to dig really hard to find the source of creativity. Whereas other writers, for example, Mark Manson, in an interview, he's an American writer, he wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. In an interview, he says, well, we have this source of creativity within us. It's like a fountain, but we block it, we kind of suppress it by thinking that we need to make money with whatever we are creating. We need to make money, or we need to build an audience, or we need to be, we need to impress people. And the moment you start using those ideas, the moment those ideas cover the creativity, is the moment you lose it. So you kind of, your creativity starts suffering the moment you have these thoughts that you have to be original. But again, originality and creativity are two different things. So I looked up the definition of the word creativity in the dictionary, and it says creativity is the act of making something new, or to make art. The use of skills to make something new or to make art. There's no trace of originality there. There's no trace of the word original, impressive, anything like that. So it's the simple act of making something that wasn't there before. Right. Originality, on the other hand, is a different word. And I need to read the definition because I don't remember it. The quality of being new and interesting, this is different, in a way that is different from anything that has existed before. So this is originality. So this is harder to achieve than creativity. On the other hand, while these two things are different, I was talking with one of my podcast guests, which you'll see the episode soon, and he says, okay, if the act of creativity is just making something new, something that wasn't there before, like, for example, making a sandwich. Making a sandwich, it's an act of creativity. It doesn't have to be original. It doesn't have to impress anyone, but you have to create it. It wasn't there before. You use your skills to make a sandwich. But what if you're following a recipe, he says? What if you have instructions? So, Lego, for example. One thing is to build something with Lego and without following instructions. So you just build something, and that's, you create something out of nowhere. That's a beautiful act of creativity. But what if I give you the instructions and I say, okay, you need to put this piece here, this piece there, this piece. Is that still creativity, or it's just mechanical, like even a robot can do that? And that made me think, so is creativity really something, is the act of making something new that wasn't there before? Maybe that's something more to that. But one thing for sure is that one thing that I strongly believe in is that we are all creative. We are all capable of making art. There's no such thing as inborn talent. I don't know if the grammar is correct. There's no such thing as inborn talent. So I don't believe this thing that you were born with a gene that you are talented. You were born a talented writer or an artist, a very skilled artist. I think it's all about what you do, what you've been doing in life to cultivate your creativity, whether you watch TV every night, or maybe you write something every night, or you try to put your creativity into practice, because it's easy to not to suppress it, but it's easy for your creativity to stagnate. So if you leave it there and you never use it, if everything you do is just you just consume videos, you only get input, but you don't produce any output. Well, how can you be creative? How can you create anything? Well, okay, this is a long ramble, but I also wanted to tell you that if you feel you have to be original, that's one cause of writer's block, and I've experienced it myself. So if you want to write something and you feel that you have to impress people, that's hard. That's hard to do, because I said it before, it's hard to come up with very original ideas, very interesting and original ideas. But we all have stories, and our stories are original because they are unique. No one has lived the way we have lived, the way we've been living our lives. So those are originals. That's why storytelling is always a very good way to be original. I can tell you anything. I can tell you I can tell you a story about a time when I broke up with my girlfriend, and millions of people have broken up with their girlfriends in the history of humankind. But by telling you my story, well, that's already an original story because it's mine. No one has lived that experience before. and if I write it, I get creative with it, well, then it's I combine creativity with originality. You can tell that these videos are not scripted because I'm just exploring ideas as I go, and most of the time these ideas come to mind while I'm watching you, because I'm forcing myself at times to just get creative, just start creating this video. I didn't know, I had an idea in mind and I'm exploring it with you now. And if I had started with, I need to be original in this video, I need to say something unique, something that has never said, something that no one has ever said before, probably I would have struggled a lot. But by just doing it, by just pressing, maybe it's not the best video I've ever made. It's probably one of the worst on YouTube, I'm telling you. But by doing it, the act of pressing record, the act of start writing something, and the act of exploring, well, that is enough to keep you doing that thing. And chances are that you might be original. You might end up being original. I don't know what I'm saying, to be honest, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're still watching after 11 minutes. So if this makes sense to you, if this is something that maybe you don't have a clear idea about what is creativity, maybe you think you're not creative, and I don't believe that. You're not original, probably. But if this makes sense to you, if you want to contribute to the discussion, let me know in the comments what you think about the difference between being original and being creative, and what's your take on creativity. All right, I hope this is helpful. I hope this is thought-provoking. It was for me, for sure. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.